Happy Tuesday to everybody out there. Hopefully by now you're used to that song. That means it's time for the Overtime Sports Show, coming to you live as we always do on Tuesday evenings. This is episode 26, if you're keeping count. My name is Greg Gross. Guy across from me is Dan O'Brien. Starts every single show with a hat reveal. And my man, before we did the show, you said I was going to like this one, and I kind of laughed. I like them all. You know that.
I know. That's like a going line for you.
It is. So let me see what you got. I understand you got something to show.
I got two videos, and you'll see maybe the first video will give you a clue. If not, the second video a clue, and then the third one I'll put the hat on. So let me share the screen real quick.
Let's see it.
And here we go.
The City Custom Cash Card automatically adjusts to earn you more cash back in your top eligible spend category, like restaurants.
That's amazing. It's my day off.
You don't have to choose a spending category.
Can I get the pancake triple play?
Or activate anything to earn.
Yo, no way.
Your cash back automatically adjusts for you.
Great, because we are not going anywhere after this.
Earn 5% cash back that automatically adjusts to your top eligible spend category. Up to $500 spent each billing cycle with the City Custom Cash Card.
Oh.
Put it in the books.
Love it.
All right. So we got one more. And like I said, I don't know if you got a idea yet, but we have another one.
A couple ideas, yeah.
All right. Hold on one second.
Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets are really sucking the ball. Knocking those home runs over the wall.
Love it.
All right. So we'll remove that. And hold on. 1 second. So without further ado, let me get something going real quick.
Yes.
I knew you would like that one.
Yes. Love it. That's what I was thinking.
I knew you were liking that one, so I had to do a couple with, a couple videos with old Mr. Met, and there's the hat, old Mr. Met, one of the top baseball. I think he's the best baseball mascot we got. So
yeah, especially that imitation that is it the Reds have, I think.
Yeah, the Reds do, and before we started the show, I did a little top 10, and they were saying that the Fanatic was above the Mr. Met, but get the Fanatic out of here. Mr. Met is iconic. Yeah, the Philly Fanatic.
Get the hell out of here! Wow, that's garbage.
But yeah, I figured you'd like that one. So yeah, Mr. Met.
I don't like it. I love it. You are a great friend, and maybe this is just a testament to how big of a baseball fan you are, because you're a Yankees fan. You bleed Yankee blue and pinstripes, and even though the Mets are looked at as the ugly redheaded stepchild, if you will, we've always played second fiddle. That's just the way it is. I personally can't say that I'd wear a Yankees hat. Even though we're not division rivals, we're in different conferences, but I don't think I could do it. Same reason I'm not putting on a Jets hat.
Yeah.
I'm sure as hell not putting on a Rangers hat. Islanders hat, don't hate the Islanders, but I wouldn't probably wear it. But you're repping the Mets hat as a Yankees fan. I love it. I appreciate it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's actually my second one, so now it's tied 2-2 with Yankee hats and Mets hats. So
yeah. And look at that hat. I mean, I like the colors, and you're right. The Mr. Met logo. I mean, look at him. He's running, smiling face. It's a gimmicky thing, I guess, in a lot of people's eyes. But I've always felt lucky that the Mets have an awesome looking mascot, and being a Devils fan, I think the NJ Devil is like one of the best mascots too. And it's funny you showed that commercial, the Sports Center one with Mr. Met, and the song, and it brought me back to the old Sports Center one where they show.
Oh, yeah, when they're like, "Are you going down?" He's like,
"Yep." Yep. You know exactly it. I mean, those are just classics. Like, even if you're not a hockey fan or anything, or a baseball fan, you recognize those. So good stuff. I love it. So it's a good prelude to the season coming up, and we're gonna have, as we talked last couple shows, pretty heavy baseball show today, and I think we'll probably come back to that. We got a lot to break down, maybe some predictions and things, but we'll probably come back to that. I want to open up the show the way we have the last couple. Hopefully people are enjoying it. have a love affair with golf over the last couple of years, and I've mentioned last show that I actually attended the Valspar Championship this past week, and I wanted to just share a couple thoughts. I'm sure you got a few as well, Dan, because you've been to some live events. But for me, this was my first live PGA Tour event. I've been to the Corn Ferry once before, which is just a step below, and that was great. But this was my first time attending the big leagues, if you will, of golf, and I just want to say that it did not disappoint at all. Start to finish, it was everything I was expecting and more. Went with a friend of mine, Eric Heatherly, friend of the show. He had been before, but again, this was my first time. Long day. We got there very early. I think first guys teeing off was 7:30, 8 o'clock, I guess, to make sure they get in their rounds. We got there probably around 9 or so. If you've ever been to a PGA event, you have your pick of the litter pretty much to walk around the course, post up on a hole and just watch the groups flow through, or you can follow your favorite golfer and pairing if you want. We started out walking the entire course, 7,300 yards, I think. So we definitely
got your steps in.
Yeah, we did get our steps in, and I'll tell you, I was debating wearing sandals because I wear sandals all the time in Florida. The weather's great. But I did wear shoes, and I'm thankful I did because you need shoes for the amount of walking you're doing. But even with that, by 1 o'clock, my dogs were barking. I mean, it was my feet by 3 o'clock. Eric and we were sitting down in the grass, just having a drink and some food because we needed a break. But it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Tickets were $80, pretty reasonable. Food and drink inside is about what you'd expect at any sporting event nowadays. I don't want to say they were cheap, but they were all right. They don't allow you to obviously bring in drinks and things like that, but they did have free water that they were giving out, which was nice. So you didn't have to spend $5 or $6 on a bottle of water. Plenty of vendors out there. They were selling merchandise. We did not bring in chairs and things like that, but they do allow you to bring those in if you want to bring your own, foldable chair and again, post up somewhere. But I just really, really enjoyed it. The course was, as you can expect, immaculate, phenomenal shape. I have a couple images I want to share just for anybody that's not been to an event before. This will give you an idea of really what it's like.
Sure.
See if I can pop them on the screen here.
Oh, wow.
This one here just kind of shows one of the holes, and you can see just the course is just pristine. The way the grass is cut, I guess the unique thing about Innisbrook, which is where the Valspars played, is the layout is a little bit of, I guess, some rolling hills, different elevations, stuff that, like you've been to the TPC, Dan.
Yep.
I've heard that that's a bit flatter, not quite as much of elevation. So this might have been a little unique, but just thought it was in impeccable shape. We were able to get, as you can imagine, really close to some of the golfers before it got crowded. This was where we were behind one of the caddies who actually shot, the caddy didn't, but the golfer shot a ball out of bounds on his tee shot, and they went to go look for it naturally. And I mean, we were within 5 feet of it. This particular, I want to call out. I don't know if you know this, Dan, but if you can look at the back of him, it says
Special K.
So I was told that the Valspar, for whatever reason, is the only tournament that the caddies are allowed to put something custom on the back, and it's at the direction of the golfer, obviously, but
pretty cool.
Golfer's choice. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. Some guys just had the golfer's name. One guy had Do It From Maya, I think, was probably his daughter or his kid or something. So pretty cool branding there. But you can just see, I mean, how close we can get. I mean, literally just within feet. This was another one guy, happened to plunk one in the woods a little bit, and that's Scott Stallings, the American player.
Yep.
We were just within a few feet of him. I also wanted to grab a couple of these screenshots because me being just a journeyman golfer, lucky if I'm hitting under 100, it was refreshing to see some of these guys look a little human at times, and just into the woods, into the water, spray them a little bit. It was a little bit refreshing. But one more I wanted to show, two more actually. This one here, you could just see we posted up in the grandstands.
Yep.
They had a lot of areas that you had to pay and to sit in, but this one was actually right on the first tee box. If you see number 1 there,
Oh yeah.
we were just a few rows up, and it was awesome. You could see the guys starting their day and just watch the groups literally tee off and begin their round, and it cost you nothing. So really, really awesome view there that I enjoyed. And then this last one here, I thought was hilarious. So this is our vantage point when we were sitting around noon or so in the grandstands on, I think 9 or 10, somewhere in the middle of the course. And we were having a bite to eat, and it was a par 3 actually. So I don't know how he missed it so bad. I think it was Kim, a younger guy. He was playing with Stallings, if I remember, who I was watching quite a bit.
Yeah.
He shanked one on this par 3, and I show you this picture because if you can see these seating arrangements and these like fake lizard decorations scattered in the background there, Kim's ball actually made it under one of those lizards.
Oh,
And
wow.
because they are obviously not a natural object, they had to clear them all away, and he got some relief. But it was my first time up close seeing something like that. Everybody had to scatter away. I think they even had the rules official come over, and you could see Kim kind of put his driver, which is his longest club, near the ball, and that was his, I guess, relief period where he could move it away. But it was interesting because we're sitting literally on the rail there, and he had to like shoot around the grandstands almost. And it was an amazing shot. Like, I thought he was in for a world of pain, but that's why they're professionals. He just kind of got, popped the ball up and landed on the green. I think he ended up bogeying the hole, but it was a heck of a save. But I just thought this was really interesting and hilarious because, I mean, the ball was shot way off the fairway on a par 3, and they just scattered under these chairs and lizards and all that. So
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, all in all, just a really, really enjoyable experience for me. I just wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about it. I would absolutely do it again. I'm kind of already planning, Dan, maybe you and I could do it together next year.
Yep.
Do the Arnold Palmer in Orlando. I'd love to see another course. But it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. The weather was perfect. If you're a fan of the sport, I highly recommend, go into a course that might be near you. It's well worth the $80, $100, whatever the tickets cost. So, that's my spiel on golf. I don't know if you want to add anything to it, or I know you've been to TPC and maybe a comparison or something.
Yeah. So just going off what you said, I mean, the cool thing about golf is it's very unprecedented. I mean, you can literally be as close as you want to the players. I mean, obviously they need some room to swing and talk to their caddy, but I think that is by far the closest professional sport, that you can be as close as you can to the players. And that just touches on how cool a live live PGA Tour event is, because I mentioned to you a couple times I've been to the players probably 6 or 7 times. And one of the first or second times I went to the players is when Ricky Fowler was not Ricky Fowler as he is today. And I was able to follow him for probably majority of the course. And I was as close as you were to Special K the whole course. So it's really, really just cool. And you can kind of just see these guys are human. I mean, they hit the ball, they talk to their caddies and say, what am I going to do here? And, they have a couple shanks like you saw. So, I mean, I'm a huge proponent of live golf because, like I said, you get to walk with them and you get to see courses, you get to see people, how they set up and how they hit. I mean, it's completely different from the TV. I think you could probably agree with that. Watching it on TV is completely different from live because, like I said, you can feel the wind. You can, see the grass is wet or the grass is dry or hard or fast. So, huge proponent. So, I've told you millions of times, it's definitely worth it. So, yeah, if anybody watching our show, in Florida or wherever people watch it, definitely go to an event because it's an experience and a half. I mean, it's up there. I mean, obviously top 5 events that I like going to is a live golf, but yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Just to double down on what you said. I mean, it is a bit different in person. I enjoy watching golf on TV, especially the majors are exciting. I know it's not for everybody. Some people it's too slow for them, whatever. But being there in person is different. And just my respect for what these guys do and how good they are.
Yeah.
through the roof. Again, journeyman golfers, what you and I are. We're out there for fun. It's a hobby for us. We're out there. We're usually playing from the whites, and these guys, seeing where they're playing from, how long these holes are, and the fact that they can pretty much put the ball wherever they want is just incredibly impressive. And like I said, with that last screenshot, one of the guys was literally behind a grandstand. I mean, if you and I don't want to speak for you, but we're similar, I think, in our abilities. And when it comes to golf, I know if I was in that situation, I mean, I'm picking up an 8 or a 10, a double par on that hole, just because you're in such an awful spot. But a guy like, I think, again, it was Kim, it almost didn't even matter. I mean, yeah, it's not the shot he wanted, but he was able to recover. And they're doing it under pressure,
Oh, yeah.
I don't love an audience when I play, and golf is so mental. It's amazing how these guys can do it with people right on top of them. All the reasons to be distracted and get off your game, and they are able to just dial in, and it looks like make miracles happen out there. So my respect for what these guys do is just through the roof.
Yeah, going off what you said again, people behind the green. I mean, there's millions of people there that, if you're on a big, what's like Tiger Woods or Justin Thomas, I mean, just to concentrate. I mean, you're looking at so many different colors. You're trying to find where the flag is. You're trying to find where the slope is on the green. It just really is awesome how they're able to control their emotions, control their patience, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. But,
yeah.
But I did want to speak on the winner. I don't know if you did, but real quick.
I was going.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. I was just going to say, Peter Molinari, he won, and actually he's qualifying for the Augusta Masters, which is, hands down the best major, the most prestigious major.
Yep.
Reading an article right here that said he's only played in 3 majors. So this will be his first Masters, and I think that he's qualified for at least 12 years. So that's kind of cool. I don't know if you saw that, but if you wanted to touch on Molinari, but it was his first win in 8 years as well.
Yeah, so it's interesting as we were posting up on 18 as the round was coming to a close. There was a couple guys. The Canadian Hughes was up there for a bit. Phillips was up there. Young kind of was surging towards the end, and it was interesting because you and I did our picks last week, and neither one of us was very good. I had Spieth and you had Burns, and both of them flamed out, didn't make the cut. So we picked some different guys just to continue to make it interesting. And you had Powers, who was looking pretty good, I think, in coming into round 3. I went with Cam Young, kind of in a similar position. And when it came down on the final day, Powers for you just was going in the wrong direction. I think it was 5 or something. He was pretty awful. But Cam Young, on the other hand, I keep striking gold with these golfers somehow. I'm not picking the winner, but between you and I'm picking the winner somehow.
Yeah.
And Young was battling, but Malnati kind of seemed to come out of nowhere a bit. I didn't know of his name before. Eric and I were talking while we were there. He didn't know who he was either, but I like to root for the Americans, and that's what he is. So Young is too, but it was just nice to see a new guy, sort of young blood, kind of come up. I will say on 18, we watched Cam Young. I think it was his tee shot. It might've been his second shot. And I don't know if you had this vantage point watching on TV at all, but he shanked something left, sort of not out of bounds, but well off the fairway. And that kind of wrecked his round. He actually recovered from it pretty well and had a nice shot to get back on the green. But he ended up, I think, 3-putting, if I'm not mistaken. And he walked away with a bogey, which cost him the championship, really, and the winning score. He was, I think, coming into that, if he just got par and Malnati got par, they would have tied and potentially gone to a playoff. But Malnati actually got birdie and Young got bogey, so they ended up 2 strokes apart. But Young, he really found himself in some hot water. But good for Malnati. We got up close and personal to him as he was walking off the green. He went to, I guess, turn in his scorecard, make it official. As we were leaving the course, we were able to pretty much follow him along with some others. He had his kid in his arms. It looked like a great moment for him. So really happy for him. Good for him. I expected him to get a shot at the Masters, and be interesting to see what he does with that, because we know it'll be as tough, if not tougher, because as good as the Valspar was, there was guys who weren't there, like Rory and Scotty, so it's going to be tough competition, but good for him. It was nice to see him get the win.
Yeah, and real cool too. He's a unique golfer too. I'm sure you saw he wears the bucket hat and he uses a yellow golf ball. So a lot of regular golfers don't do that. So it was kind of cool to see, a regular dude with a yellow golf club and kind of like a bucket hat, because that's not an everyday golfer. I thought that was pretty unique.
Yeah, it is. I think that's something cool. The golfers showing their personalities a little bit, and I think that's what the sport needs to make it
grow.
relatable to the average fan, and make it see that these guys are human, they're people, and let their personalities shine a little bit.
Yeah, because our boy Joel Dolman, he actually wears a bucket hat too. So it's cool if a lot of people bring it back. There was somebody a couple years ago used to wear a big sombrero. I don't know if you remember him, but he had a big sombrero. He was a South African dude. I forgot his name, but he Rory Sabatini. He used to wear a sombrero hat. So
I think Greg Norman wore a hat like that too.
He did. But Sabatini had a huge sombrero. So it's cool to see guys not just look like your everyday country club golfers. It's cool to see something different. Yellow ball and a bucket hat. I think that's pretty cool. So good for Molinati.
Definitely agreed.
I'm sure he's got a little Italian in him too, so we can always love
probably
that.
Does.
Yeah.
Molinati.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Didn't mean to go as long on that, but wanted to give my perspective.
For sure.
I think maybe we can switch gears. I don't know if you want to spend a few moments talking some basketball, maybe some March Madness.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
the tournament kicked off 2 weeks ago, right? I think it was
last week, Thursday and Friday,
or Saturday,
right. Sunday. Yeah,
flies. I feel like it has been going on for a while, but it's 2 rounds that we've passed already. You able to share your screen?
Yep, I'm gonna share it right now. So we're gonna go ahead and share. We ended up getting 15 people in our group, which was pretty cool. I think. Unfortunately, I don't know who this Answer Key and Gary Basikas is, but everybody else, we got 13 in. I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, for our little show to get people in. And so far, it looks like my brother and my dad are tied for first. And then we got another friend of mine, Joe, who is a St. Augustine local boy. He's behind. But me and you are not looking the best. I mean, we're at 5 and 8. I have 1470 left, and you have 1610 left. And there's been a lot of upsets.
I don't know if you can see this on the mobile view. That's where I've been checking most of the leaderboard, and I think I've been able to see the points that we have total so far, but I wasn't able to see the points remaining, which is really what I wanted to see.
Yeah, it's right here in the max. So I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, but you can. You just have to scroll over. So on the mobile app, it shows on the very right-hand side of the app the points that you have.
Yep.
And it's just, I didn't know that you could scroll over, but you can, and you could see the max left.
Yeah.
So I have 1610. Is that what you're seeing?
You got 1610 and I got 1470. You have Creighton left. I have Purdue left. I think 2 of my Final Four teams are out with Kentucky and Baylor.
Yep. I like my chances. I mean, your family's definitely up there and kicking butt, and we got a couple others who are still ahead of me. But I like my chances. And you brought up a good point. If whoever ends up winning, if you're not somebody that we know personally, will reach out to us via email or Facebook, whatever it is, and we'll make sure you get your reward if you come in first place. In case you don't know exactly who you are.
I mean, these could be new fans, Isaac Welker and Gary Basikas. I mean, everybody else I know you know everybody else too. So if they're legit and they win, more power to you. We'll get you that $25 out. Like I said, It's not much, but it's fun.
Hey, it's fun. That's what we're looking for. Little by little, grow the audience. So
good stuff. So we'll share that again next week and kind of see where everybody's at, because next week though we'll be able to be after the Elite Eight, we'll be in the Final Four next week.
So before we move on, I guess we've been through 2 rounds now. What shocked you the most at some of the upsets so far? What are you most surprised about?
I'm most surprised about Kentucky, to tell you the truth. I mean, when we made the picks last week, I mentioned to them that they have 3 or 4, maybe even 5 top 5 lottery picks for the NBA draft next year, and obviously their coach, John Calipari. I mean, they're perennial top 5, top 10 teams every year. And to lose to a 13, I think it was a 13 Oakland team. I mean, that guy, Jack Cordy, I think his name was, he hit 10 threes. And that was like the main thing. But it was that was probably the biggest surprise, to tell you the truth. And then obviously Baylor going out on Sunday, they were pretty big on my end. But what about you? What do you think? What was your biggest?
Well, I don't have too many surprises. Baylor was one of them. I can tell you that
Auburn too. Auburn and Florida losing. Auburn losing to Yale and Florida losing to Kentucky or Colorado. Those were really good games.
Yeah, that was a big one. But I think personally, my biggest gaffe is taking BYU to go as long as I did.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that was my reach of the tournament. But honestly, all things considered, if you look at the remaining teams, I lost out on Baylor, I lost out on BYU, but I have quite a few brackets correct, completely correct. Like I'm looking at, and a lot of them are sort of the front runners. Like there was one conference, I think it was the West, where there was 1, 2, 3, and 4 still left. Which conference is that? Was I wrong?
Which bracket? Which region?
That's what I'm trying to look at.
So
maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's 1, 2, 3, and 5 in the Midwest.
The East it's the East. East has 1, 2, 3, 5 in the East.
Yep. Oh, and so does and so does the Midwest. 1, 2, 3, 5. So we got 2 conferences that are almost the top 4 really. So there's been a few upsets as we talked about, but there's not been a ton. I mean, look who's still left. All the ones are still left, right? North Carolina, Purdue, UConn, and Houston. So I mean, the big names are still there. I know a lot of people think UConn is going to repeat. I wanted to just talk for a minute about Purdue. I think I mentioned this. I knew that they were, highly ranked this year. There was a lot of buzz about them. I forget if it was the first or second round, but I was watching a little bit of their game, and they were dominating whoever it was that they were playing. And I couldn't help but notice their center, Zach Edey. I think I noted. I mentioned this to you. We were texting back and forth, and I said, "Wow, Purdue's center is huge."
Yeah, I mentioned that when I made my picks. Yeah, 7-3,
7-4 is what they list him as, and that guy was just gobbling up everything that came his way. I mean, he had more rebounds himself than the entire team that he was playing. And again, I forget who it was, but
they killed Utah State 106-67, so it had to have been Utah State.
That was probably it. Yeah, they were. I mean, it was just they didn't stand a chance. I mean, he was scoring, but he was just defensively getting every rebound. It looked like a huge advantage. So I'll be interested to see if that continues. They have their hands full with Gonzaga, and I think I saw a pretty interesting stat. I can't remember who they tied, but I want to say it's 19 years in a row that Gonzaga has made the Sweet 16. So
yeah,
they've had a pretty good run for the better part of 2 decades now. Really, really consistent. They're never quite out of it. They never get upset in the first round and things like that. But yeah, I thought overall a good opening weekend to the tournament. A couple upsets here and there, but still a lot of the favorites left. So I think there's going to be some good basketball ahead.
Yeah, and the cool stat about Zach Edey, I don't know if you knew this, but he actually is a Canadian basketball player, and he actually went to high school at IMG. So he's he played at IMG, and then from IMG went to Purdue. But he's out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. But yeah, he played at Leaside, Toronto, and then I want to say he transferred to IMG probably sophomore year, and then that's where he moved to the United States and enrolled at IMG Academy in Bradenton.
That's amazing. I did not know that. But then again, should I really be surprised? Because I mean, it's amazing, living here in the Sarasota, Bradenton area. There's a ton of people here. They've been moving here for the last 20 years in mass. But at the same time, still they're small towns. Bradenton even smaller than Sarasota, but it's just amazing that in this little town we happen to have this school that just is a mecca for talent in all sports. I mean, they just get the best of the best, and
Yeah.
it translates to the big leagues. It doesn't matter what sport, but they just groom and breed and train talent, which is really cool. One of these days I got to get back over there and
Yeah, we need to check it out. We need to see if we
Yeah,
can get them on the show. That'd be cool to get somebody on the show from IMG.
that
That'd
would
pretty
be
cool.
that
Yeah.
would be awesome. We got to make that happen. And
That's
maybe
your homework assignment. That's your homework assignment.
I'm going to try to get on that. Actually,
Yeah.
I that's a homework assignment that I'll actually enjoy and see if I can make something happen. So
Yeah, we got a real quick to go off IMG. We have a school in Jacksonville called Bowles. It's a school that Chipper Jones went to and the school that Mac Jones went to, and they're kind of similar to IMG, meaning they fly a lot of people in from different countries and different states, and they're big with soccer and swimming. There was a couple Olympic swimmers, actually, that the men's Olympic swimmers, that guy who went crazy in Brazil a couple years ago, Ryan, but he was an Olympic swimmer that went to Bowles, and he's pretty big there. So not as big as IMG, but Bowles kind of does the same thing with soccer and swimming.
yeah, interesting.
Yep.
Didn't know about it. We're pretty long. Do you want to touch on either NBA or NHL before we get to the beer segment?
Yeah, I just want to touch on my my stupid New York Islanders, man. I know I'm not ready to throw in the towel, but I'm ready to throw in the towel. I know you did on your Devils a couple weeks ago, and it's just really frustrating because we go on that 6-game winning streak, and then we win, then we lose 3, win, we lose. I mean, we beat the Jets, I think 6-3 on Saturday. I mean, the Jets are one of the top teams in the Western Conference, and then we go to play you guys. I mean, no disrespect to your Devils, but you guys beat us 4-0.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm looking at the standings right now. We're 75 points, and we're 4 points behind Washington, and we're 10 points behind the Lightning. So, and we don't have any more games at hand. I mean, we have one game at hand with the Capitals, but still, I don't know. I really don't know where we go from here. I mean, we got a tough schedule. We actually play in Fort Lauderdale on Thursday against the Panthers, so that's going to be a tough one. And I mean, it might just be all hands on deck for the Panthers. I mean, they're playing the Bruins tonight. Last I checked, it was 1-0 Panthers. They scored within
2-2 now.
Okay, they scored within 27 seconds. It was the second fastest goal of the season behind Aaron Ekblad for the Panthers. So it was like 27, 28 seconds, and it was pretty impressive. But they're both tied at 97 points, and the Rags are at 98, and the Hurricanes are at 97. So those top 4 teams in the Eastern, they're pretty good. I mean, really, really good.
They are. They're the West is no slouch. I think the West is deeper because if you look at all 8 teams in that conference that are likely to get in the playoffs, they're all deserving and pretty stacked. But the East, I think, is maybe a little bit better at the very top. Like if you look at the bottom, like whoever sneaks into the wild card in the East is gonna basically back into the playoffs, and that's not the case in the West. But the top, like you just mentioned, the Bruins, the Panthers, the Hurricanes, the Rangers. I mean, those 4. Honestly, nothing against the Avalanche, the Stars, the Jets, the Knights, but I would take those teams in the East, I think, just barely over some of the teams in the West. It's interesting. I'm wearing, I don't know if you can tell, I'm wearing my Timo Time shirt.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I was wondering. I was trying to make that out. Your microphone was in the way. I was trying to see what that was.
Yeah, I got this last year in the playoffs or just before when the Devils acquired Meyer. And he had a pretty decent end of the season with them. And this year was supposed to be the same, if not better. He started off slow and pretty bad, but he's been on fire lately. He looks like the guy that we gave $8 million to per year for the next 8 years. So we're committed to him. And he's finally been tearing it up lately, which has been great to see. So I put this shirt on because we're playing tonight. Last I checked, it was 3-3 against the Leafs.
Yeah, that's a good team in Toronto too.
Correct. And I was actually going to, I'm due for a vacation and I've never been to Canada. So I earmarked this game on the schedule and was going to take a very long road trip and hit a couple cities, including Canada, and maybe see this game in person. But I opted not to for a couple reasons. one of them being that the Devils they looked like they've been out of the playoff race, and they're not mathematically eliminated yet. But for all intents and purposes, it would take an act of God for them to get in. Very similar to you guys. I mean, the only reason we even have a fighting chance is because we somehow beat you guys on Sunday.
Yeah.
That was an important game, but we screwed the pooch the night before by losing to Ottawa, who is a team that we should have beat, and then that's been the story for the Devils all season long. It's just consistently inconsistent. Win 2, lose 2, win 1, lose 1, like no winning streaks whatsoever. It's just looking really bleak. Tonight is a big game. If we win, we play again on Friday against Buffalo, which is also probably going to make or break the season because they are also somehow tied with us. But yeah, when it comes down to that last spot, I personally think it's going to be the Capitals who get in. They have a couple games in hand on all of us.
Yep.
But really, honestly, whoever it is, Caps, Flyers, Wings, Isles, Devils, Sabres. I mean, they're 5. What did I just name? 5, 6 teams. Whoever it is, I don't give any of those teams very much of a chance because think about who they're going to play.
They got to either play Boston. They got to play one of the 4 teams you mentioned at the beginning: Panthers, Bruins, Rangers, Hurricanes.
Yeah, whoever it is, they're probably getting bounced in the first round. So, but you never know. I mean, you get there and anything can happen. We talked about it. Look at the Panthers last year.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Look at them.
The Devils, and whenever they're mathematically eliminated, you'll probably see me next show. Maybe put on my Mets gear and switch to baseball. But right now, I'm on life support, clinging to the last bit of hope. So.
Yeah, and before we go to our beer, I just wanted to throw that out there. Give myself a little pat on the back. There's about 10, 11 games left in basketball. And as you remember, beginning of the season, I called 2 sleeper teams to make the playoffs. And the Magic are in the 5th spot. They're looking really good to make the playoffs. And the Thunder in the 2nd spot, even better to make the playoffs. So wanted to give myself a pat on the back. I mean, those are 2 sleeper teams that I called out, like probably 4 or 5 games into the season. So I want to say kudos to myself.
Yeah, you did well. I probably don't deserve kudos, or maybe not as much, but I picked Boston, man, and they're head and shoulders above everybody right now.
I know.
They're having their way with the league. I mean, so I'll take a little bit of credit there. I mean, like second place is not even close to them. They're 11 games ahead of.
I know, it's ridiculous.
In the conference
and
West.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, but it'll be a nice fight to the finish in a race in the NBA playoffs. Before we move off of that, I wanted to bring up one quick thing about basketball as well. I didn't know this, so I just recently learned this. We talked about how the 7 and 8 seed are not automatic locks in the NBA playoffs. The 9 and 10 also have a shot. I just assumed it was 7 plays 10, 8 plays 9. But apparently that's not the case. 7 and 8 play, and then 9 and 10 play.
Yep.
The winner of 9 and 10
moves
plays
on.
The loser of 7 and 8.
Yep.
Why? How does that make any sense? Why would you're making it more difficult for the 7 and the 8 seed? They have to play each other, and the 9 and 10 get to play each other. Like the 7 should play the 10, the 8 should play the 9. Like, how does that?
So what it is it's 9 and 10. The loser of that is done. 7 and 8, the winner stays, but the loser still plays. So I know that I said a lot of words that kind of rhyme there, but what it is it's kind of an advantage. I see what you're saying, but the advantage to be in the 7-8, because that way, if you lose a game, you're still alive. But if you're a 9 and 10, you lose your game, you're out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what the advantage is to be 7-8. Like that's why you want to be in your 7th spot. You want to be in your 8th spot. I mean, ideally, you want to be 7th and then 8 and then 9 and then 10 because 9-10 play, loser's done. 7-8 play, 7, I believe, gets the 7th spot, and then 8 plays 9, and winner of that gets 8th spot. So 7th spot, all you got to do is win one game, and then you're locked into the 7th seed. So I understand what you're saying, but it kind of makes it too beneficial to be in the 7-8 spot. You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, because the way I'm looking at it, in the 7 and 8 game, the loser doesn't automatically make the playoffs.
No, but the 7th does. The 7th seed, if you're the 7th seed, you get in there. The winner gets in. Loser has to play the winner of 9-10.
No, wait, say that again. If you're the 7th seed, you're not automatically in.
Well, you just got to win that game, is what I meant to say. So you're winning 7-8 is automatically in the playoffs, and then whoever loses that game plays 9-10.
Right. Yeah.
But 7 seed gets home court advantage. That's why you want to be in the 7th seed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I mean, I see now that you described it. I see I guess a little bit of an advantage. I still just think it's weird. Like I've told you before, we talked about it on the show. I just hate the play-in concept in general.
I know. They just want to make it more. It's all about money, man. We talked about NFL. We talked about money. It's all about money because they're going to get more eyes on that. They're going to get more viewers. They're going to get more attendance.
They have to invent these narratives like, "Oh, let's watch see who wins the 7 and 8 game to play."
Oh, I know.
Jesus, man.
I mean, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna get you there.
I should be shocked because we're talking about the league who did that in-season tournament too. So,
that we still have no idea what it's about. I thought winning the in-season tournament would guarantee you at least an A spot, but I guess that wasn't the case.
Well, it was money, wasn't it?
It was money, yeah. Everybody, like their players got a bonus or some crap like that.
Yeah. Crazy.
But, yeah.
All right. Well, we went way long, but I think we still got plenty of time to talk baseball when we come back. We'll have our beer segment and then break down the MLB season ahead. So stick with us. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Yep. Bloody.
You are listening to the Overtime Sports Show, and this is our weekly beer review segment. I went first according to my notes last week, Dan, so giving you the floor.
All right. So without further ado, I got right here. It's called No Seasons. It's a pale ale, wheat ale with lemon, and it's from a brewery out of Miami, Florida. Brewed and packaged for North Seasons at Unseen Creatures in Miami, Florida. And it says right here, what you have in your hands is our flagship Hefeweizen style beer that is classic yet vibrant, pouring a hazy pale gold, tantalizing the senses with a citrus-forward aroma and a hint of spice. Each sip is a burst of bright lemon zest balanced with a gentle touch of sweetness from the wheat. So this is 5.5 alcohol volume. And you can see it's a pretty cool design. I mean, it's got the cool colors. It's, basic, but should be pretty good. Yeah.
The goldish, it looks like a yellow-green color, I'm assuming, for the lemon probably inside. I like the black on the top and bottom.
Yep. Oh, man. Look at these pours.
That looks like a deep orange, goldish color.
Yeah, it is. It's very like that. Yep. So, oh, wow. You could definitely, so off the rip, you definitely smell the wheat. And then towards the end, you get that lemon. So let's go ahead and give it a whirl. That's really good.
Yeah.
They really described it well, because definitely you get the hazy Hefeweizen, and then you get that citrus aroma. So for friends around, for you, for Weatherly, oh wow.
Yeah, love it.
That is an 8.5 right there. That's delicious.
8.5. Strong rating.
I mean, it's delicious. I could pound about, we'll fill in the blank at your pool, but I could pound a lot of those. Those are delicious, man. That is good.
Good stuff. 8.5 is a strong rating. One of our strongest that we've had.
Yeah. I mean, I love wheat beers. I like citrus. So, I mean, it's like a perfect combination.
Yeah. All right. Let me show you what I got. This legitimately made me LOL, as they call it.
Yeah, you told me before the show. This is one you always mentioned about my hats. This is one that you mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Pumped.
Can art, man. Can art. If you can see this. Super Marzen Brothers.
That's awesome.
If you look at the band, it's the logo of Super Mario Brothers. And
that is unique.
It just looks awesome on here. I think
the keg, like the old school thing, the cartoon. Nope. That's really cool.
It's like awesome. Video game art, like literally the original one. I think number 1 for like regular Nintendo. And
that's awesome.
It's just, there was another beer I picked out that I really wanted to go with today, but when I saw this one, it made me laugh. I laughed in the store as I was picking it out. I was like, this is great.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
So it's a Marzen. It's an Oktoberfest. It's from Florida Avenue Brewing.
Out of Tampa.
Yeah, Wesley Chapel is what they say here. Yep, Tampa area. And I saw the ABV on here somewhere. I know I saw it somewhere. I want to say this was a 5.5 also. Yep, exactly. 5.5, and that's what yours was. So we have same type of beers in terms of content. I'm going to give this a 4. Let's see.
There you go. Got to get a bigger glass. I tell you this every show.
Yeah, one of these days I will. I've been going with the team specific ones, Giants and Devils. Well, it smells like a Mars, and it's got a bit of an aroma to it.
Okay.
Kind of what you'd expect. I think I've had plenty of Marzens now, and I think I'll like this one. It smells like what you would think, the same characteristics.
Yep.
Give it a taste. It's good. It's real good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's crisp. It's easy to drink. I would say the way I would describe this is it's well balanced. It's flavorful, but it hits you in the beginning. You can taste it immediately, and as it's going down, there's no crazy aftertaste. It's really well balanced. Let me get one more.
Yeah.
That's delicious.
I like that color too.
Yeah, this is really good.
Dual 8.5ers, dude.
I'm probably gonna hit you with another oh wow, but this is an 8.8.
Oh wow.
This is an easy 8.8.
Is that our highest one?
I think it is, and I'm doing that on purpose because this is probably 26 shows in now. I think this is easily the best beer I've had so far. I mean, I'm a huge fan.
Damn.
I'm
You gotta get more of those. Yeah.
Normally I just do 2 sips. I do one, I do a second to reconfirm. I'm doing a third one here because this is that good.
We got double high 8s, so let's give it a cheers, and that's awesome.
Cheers,
buddy. That's great.
And I'm not playing favorites because of the can art, which is equally as spectacular. But this is a great beer. Super Marzen Brothers out of Florida. So
very clever too. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is a great beer. We
Very
definitely
clever.
get it again. So
I like it.
Yeah. So man, look at this. The time just flies, but so many
Time
good
flies
things
when you're
already
having
today,
fun.
but we got to get now to the nitty-gritty of the show. And that's baseball. We got we had last week a weird game with the Dodgers technically kicking off the season overseas, and they resumed some spring training games, but season kicks off Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, sir.
So our plan is to kind of give our predictions a little bit here, go through each division, the conferences, sort of pick a winner. Maybe we'll pick some sleepers and some dark horses, and obviously maybe give just a little color and some reasoning to why we think that. I want to give you the floor, Dan, if you want to start with whichever division you want to start with. Hit me with who you think is going to win and why, and we'll take it from there.
So on my list right here, out of no particular order, I didn't pick it, but the website picked it to go off. American League East.
Yep.
Everybody knows after 26 episodes in, they know who I love to watch. My favorite team of all time, right above the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, New York Yankees. I think they're going to win the division. I think Juan Soto is going to be a stud. Later in the show, I'm going to pick our MVP, and you may hear that name again. But I think Juan Soto batting 2. I think Aaron Judge batting 3. Aaron Judge healthy the whole year. I think Carlos Rondon comes back with the stud that he always has been. Lefty, really good fastball, really good curveball. And we got a pretty solid bullpen. I think Yankees win the AL East by at least 5 games. And that's I can go on for hours and days around the Yankees, but we'll just keep it short and simple. Yankees, AL East.
Yeah. I was going to start in the same division if I went first.
That's fine.
Would love to disagree with you, but I don't. I going back several shows. We were talking baseball, and I mentioned that I was pretty high on the Orioles for the future, but seeing how they went out last year pretty early and quickly made me think that it was just a little premature. So I think they have some development to go through, and they barely squeaked through and passed the Rays last year for the division. I don't think they're going to do it again this year. I don't think the Rays are going to be up there as much as I'd like them to be. They just they lost some key guys. I know you guys, are going to be potentially without Cole for a little bit, but like you said, you got, pretty deep pitching staff. Cortez. You got my boy Stroman.
Yep.
Obviously, Soto at the plate is going to be a big addition. So I do think it's your division as well. I think it'll be close. I don't know if it'll be 5 games, but I do think you guys end up taking the AL East. So I'm with you.
I like it. So I'm going to move right down the line. I'm going to go American League Central.
Yep.
And what I'm going to do with this right here, I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So this is going to be my sleeper pick, and it's also going to be my central pick, Detroit Tigers. So what I think about them, obviously we had a friend of the show, Chip, on, and he's a scout for them. But just going on the Tigers, they've had top draft picks for 3-4 years now. They still got Spencer Torkelson, Tariq, starting pitcher, Tariq Scribb. He's got a weird last name, but he's going to be the opening day starter. They're bringing up Riley Green, Javier Baez. He's still Javier Baez. He's going to have a good comeback year. I'm going to go with the Tigers. And like I said, 2 birds with 1 stone. That's going to be my sleeper and also my central pick.
I like it. This one for me was one of the harder divisions to call a winner for. I don't generally pay too much attention to the AL in general. Pay attention to the East because of the Rays. Even your boys, I know the most about that division, but the Central, the West, I don't know. I don't follow them very closely. But talking to a few folks, Eric, good friend of the show, I asked him how he thinks his Sox are going to do.
God awful.
He does. Yeah, he does not. He's not very high on them. The Royals just been putrid lately. I don't think much is going to change there. Tigers and Guardians, I don't really know, but when I look at the Twins, last year it seemed like they were head and shoulders above the rest of the competition. Everyone else in their division was sub 500. And when I look over their roster, I look at guys like, Byron Buxton as their DH. They can make some noise. They got some infielders like Correa and Farmer, guys that I know. So I got to stick with the Twins there.
Okay.
Might be an obvious pick, but that's what I'm going with.
All right. And moving down the line, American League West. This one hurts me, but Houston Astros, they're a really good team. They didn't really lose much of last year. They're going to have Verlander for a full year. They picked up Josh Hader, who I think is right behind your boy Diaz as one of the top closers in the league. And they already had a really good bullpen. They had Ryan Presley last year, who had, I want to say, about 25, 26 saves. So all that's going to do is it's going to move him back and then move Hader into the closer role. So that bullpen's just going to be stronger and stronger. And they still got your Dean Alvarez. They still got Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman's also in a contract year, so he may want to show out to get the big money next year. He's going to be a free agent. And like I said, they still got Christian Javier, Framber Valdez, and Justin Verlander. He's a little shaken up, but he'll be back, I want to say, middle of May. But I know it hurts me to say it because I hate the Astros almost as much as I hate the Red Sox. But I think the Astros are going to pull this one out in the West. They just got too good of a team. And, too good of a team.
Yeah. Looking at where they finished last year, it was cool seeing how close it was. Houston, Texas, they finished with the same records. It came down to, I think, the final game of the season.
It did.
Houston won the division. Texas obviously won the prize that matters. I think Texas wins the division this year. Don't know that they'll repeat as champs, but I do think they win the division. Looking over their roster, I mean, infield, a guy like Seager had a great postseason. He's just
Oh yeah,
he's awesome. And looking at some of their pitchers, DeGrom is hurt, but if he comes back, I mean, he could make some noise for them. They got guys like, Evaldi, John Gray. Those are some names that I know that I think could make the difference for them. So I like Texas to win the West.
Okay. All right. Moving right along. We're going to go National League East. And this one hits home for you. I wanna do Mr. Met right, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to go with the Bravos. They have way too much talent. Ronald Acuna, Austin Riley, I mean there's Spencer Strider, who we'll talk about later in the show for one of the awards. Max Fried, he's coming back healthy. They just have too good of a team. And I mean, you saw what they did last year. I just think the Braves, hands down, they're gonna win that division.
Yeah, again, I wish I could disagree with you. This for me was a toss-up. I was very close to going Phillies. I was pretty high on them last year. If you remember, we did our playoff picks, and I had Philly going quite a ways because their roster is loaded as well. I mean, you look at some of their bats, their infielders, Trey Turner, obviously Harper, Cody Clemens, who I think we saw
home run, grand slam.
Yep. So, you look at some of their roster, in particular their bats, and obviously they got Schwarber, does DH. Those guys are loaded. But the Braves, I think, are equally as loaded, and they've been doing it, I think, a little bit longer and more consistently.
Yep.
I don't know how much he's splitting time, but they got Travis d'Arnaud and Murphy at catcher. Another name, I don't know if you mentioned, but Ozzie Albies is just ridiculous. Chris Sale is still pitching.
Yeah, he just got over. Yep.
Yep. So I mean, they're just absolutely loaded. And Matt Olson, wasn't he home run leader, or wasn't he up there? I think.
Yeah, he had about 40 plus last year. So yeah.
Yep. I mean, they're just absolutely stacked. I wish I could say the Mets were even in the conversation. I don't think they're going to be. I think it's the Braves by a nose over the Phillies. So I like the Braves as well.
So this one right here, the National League Central, I think this is the hardest division to pick just because there's so many mediocre teams. I mean, you look at St. Louis, they still have Nolan Arenado. They still have Paul Goldschmidt. They still have some good pitching. And then the Cubs. I mean, the Cubs made some decent players. They got Cody Bellinger back. They got the Japanese dude, Sayo Suzuki. He's been with the team a couple years, but he had a really good spring training. And you got the Brewers, who are still the Brewers, and the Pirates. I mean, we saw the Pirates 2 days in a row a couple weeks ago. And I told you, your boy Henry Davis, young catcher, and then my boy O'Neal Cruz. I mean, he hit 2 home runs right in front of our eyes. So this one's the hardest one. I mean, it's a toss-up between the Cubs and the Cardinals. But I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I mean, they've been there. I like their coaching staff, and I just like their team. Like I said, the veteran presence of Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt. I think they still have at least a year or two left in them.
Yeah. This was also hard for me to pick. I know probably the least about this division, just like in the AL, it's the Central as well, that I know the least about. For me, it was a toss-up. The Cardinals, sometimes they can surprise me, but to me, it was a toss-up between the Reds and the Cubs. I look at the Reds roster, and they've got some guys who can make a difference. But I look at some guys like De La Cruz, who was all the talk last year, leading the league, I think, in stolen bases.
Yep.
To me, some of that kind of stuff was a bit of a flash in the pan. I don't think it's going to last and that they'll be able to put some of that magic together this coming year. So I went back to the Cubs, again, guys on their roster that have been around a while. Cody Bellinger is a household name. Some of their pitchers are pretty deep as well. I looked at, I don't know much about them, but they got Mark Leiter Jr., son of one of the, I believe he was a Met. I know the name somewhere, or no, maybe I'm thinking of Al Leiter. I swear I know Mark Leiter as well. Who did he? I think he played for somebody. I don't know.
Mark Leiter, yeah, he's on the Cubs. He is, let me see, personal.
I thought he was a Met. Maybe not. Maybe I'm confusing him with Al.
So his uncle is Al Leiter, and Mark
Okay.
Leiter also pitched in the major leagues.
That's what it was. That's what it was. So it's his nephew. So I know the
Yeah.
name. But they got guys like Drew Smiley's been around a while, Kyle Hendricks. So this one, I agree with you. It's going to be tough, but I actually like the Cubs this year.
And this one, I mean, National League West, this one's stupid. I mean, we should probably spend our least amount of time on here. Stupid ass Dodgers. I got nothing. I got nothing else. I don't know if you can surprise me. I do have a sleeper coming out of this division, which will be my Colorado Rockies. I can see them going at least third, maybe second. So there's my second sleeper this year, Colorado Rockies. But the Dodgers, I mean, they're just stupid. They spent what, $1.2 billion this past free agency.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you can go off of that.
It's not even fair. I mean,
I know it's stupid.
When you got Glass now and Kershaw and May and some of these other guys pitching for you, and then Ohtani doing what he does, and Max Muncy's a name, Vargas. It's just it's really Mookie Betts. I mean, it's just not fair. Top to bottom, they are probably the deepest, most well-rounded team. Nothing's ever in the bag. Anything can happen. Baseball is a really long season, but this, to me, has all the makings of one of those seasons where it could be historic. Like we could be looking at a team that sets the record for most wins. What is it, like 110, 112? I don't know if it was you guys one year.
116. It was 116. The Mariners had it, and we actually upset the Mariners in the playoffs. So 116.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of wins. Nowadays, it seems like you get 100, 102. It's a good season.
Yep.
But I think this could be one of those years where they almost don't lose many games. So
unfortunately, I hope they do. But, like I said, that's hearsay. So let's move. I'm going to do the 3 AL wild cards and the 3 NL wild cards, and then you do yours. So, So the 3 AL wild cards, I think Tampa will be 1. Seattle will be 1, and Texas will be the 3rd for the AL wild card. And in the NL, Colorado Rockies, Philadelphia Phillies, and the San Francisco Giants are going to be my 3 in the NL.
Okay, I
kind of blew through that. I mean, you kind of talked on some of them. I mean, Texas, Seattle's going to have a good year. They got some good team. They got a good team. I mean, Tampa's always there. It's Tampa, but so those are my guys. I mean, like I said, if you want to run through yours.
Yeah, I'm not too different. I think you're right. Tampa just always seems to be there, and they could make a fool out of me. But I think this is the year they actually finally miss out. I think you guys win the division, but I think the Orioles will be close. So I think they grab one of them. I like the Mariners as well, and I like Houston. I think,
because you had Texas in the other one.
Yeah, I think Texas will win the division, but I like Houston to keep it close, and I think the Mariners will probably squeak in. So that's who I like in the American League. Going to the East, like I said, toss up with the Braves having just a bit of an edge, but I think the Phillies are going to be right there. Very similar to that American League conference I just described. You made a strong case for the Cardinals. I stand by. I think the Cubs will take the division, but the Cardinals will probably get one of the wild cards. And in the West, I actually like the Diamondbacks. They surprised, I think, a lot of people, including me, going as far as they did last year. So I would be shocked if they fell completely out of the picture. I don't think they're going to obviously come close to sniffing the division, the lead, but I like them to maybe squeak in and get one of those spots.
Okay. And then going off of that, I'm going to do a homer pick. I'm going to pick my Yankees to beat the Braves in the World Series.
Love it. Wow. Really?
Yep. Okay. Yep. What about you? I know. I know.
Hey, I will, I talked in the beginning of this show that I wouldn't wear a Yankees hat, but if it comes down to Yankees versus Braves World Series, I would pull for you and hope to have you experience some joy in your sports fandom. Don't know that I can pick you guys to win the series.
All right. We love proving people wrong. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is just this is like, I don't know the way I described the season of the Dodgers, how could I not think that they would apply it in the postseason and just run away with it? Part of me does. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to validate this potentially in a couple weeks, and I'll describe what I mean by that. But I'm going to go Braves, and I'm going to go Braves over Rangers. I like the Rangers to.
It's a nice matchup.
Yeah, I think it would be. I like the Rangers to get back to the dance. I think they'll have a hard time with you guys and maybe Houston. But I like the Braves to go back because of what we mentioned. They're just also such a deep team. I think maybe they'll pull off an upset if they meet in the NLCS or something, maybe against the Dodgers. But what I meant by validating it is I'm going to be going up to the Atlanta area in a little week and a half or so. My father lives up in that area. Going to spend some time with him, but we are going to go to a Braves Mets game. So I'll get to see that team in person, see their lineup, and have some thoughts for the show following that game that I go to. So
Cool.
We'll see. Yep, but that's who I like. I like, unfortunately, Braves.
All right, cool. So we'll switch over to the awards. I'm thinking we hit AL, NL MVP. We hit Cy Young, AL, NL. We hit Rookie of the Year, AL, NL, and then we hit Manager of the Year, AL, NL. You all right with that?
I'm going to defer to you. I could probably give just a shot in the dark guess at maybe the MVPs. I don't know enough about some of the guys who are coming up that might be Rookie of the Year, and I definitely don't know managers. I mean,
Okay.
I'll take your word for it, but give me who you got. I want to hear it.
All right, so I'm going to start with AL MVP. I mentioned it when I was talking about my Yankees. I think Juan Soto is going to have a killer year. I think he's going to really, really do well with Judge right there behind him. So he's going to get a lot of pitches, and I think he's going to kill it. And I think we're going to bust the bank for him in the offseason. Probably going to give him about a maybe $800 million contract, 10, 15 years. Like I said, he's only 26 years old. So I think he's going to have a killer year, MVP, and the Yankees are going to break the bank for him. We haven't really spent big on a free agent since Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole, but I think he needs to stay in pinstripes. So I'm going to go Juan Soto, AL MVP. NL MVP, I'm going to go with Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, he won it last year. He's a budding superstar. He had 40-40 last year, 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases. He could go 50-50 this year. That's what a lot of people are saying, which would be unprecedented. And he's just the type of player that, he's a stud. I remember last year we saw him in spring training, and we watched him hit a home run out of the ballpark in Cool Today Park. So he's a beast. I mean, he's a stud. So I'm going to go him. And then moving right along with the Cy Young. I know a couple weeks ago, probably a couple months ago, I mentioned Garrett Cole was going to repeat. Unfortunately, he got hurt with his elbow. He's going to be out like a month or two. But I have a little curveball here for my AL Cy Young. It's going to be Tariq Skubal. It's the pitcher for the Tigers. I think he's poised for a really, really good year. And that's going to be coming out of left field. But he's a stud. I think he's going to have a really good year.
I like it. That was with the Tigers. It's a shame we can't get some time with Chip. We got to try to bring him back, maybe mid-season or something if he's able to squeak it in with his schedule. But I'd love his thoughts on that.
Me too. And then NL for the Bravos, Spencer Strider. I don't know if you know about him, but he's also another budding superstar. I mean, he's young. He's got 4 pitches, maybe even 5. Strikeout king, inning eater. I think he's going to really have a really good year, and that's why I have the Yankees playing the Braves in the World Series. So I think he's going to win that. The Rookie of the Year, this one I have Wyatt Langford for the AL Rookie of the Year. He's a rookie out of Texas Rangers. He was a top 5 pick out of the Florida Gators for Texas Rangers, and he made the team this year. I think he's going to have a really good year. So Wyatt Langford, AL Rookie of the Year.
Hey, that speaks to my Rangers pick then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So he's a stud. He's a stud. And NL Rookie of the Year, a lot of these idiots are going to go with Yoshi Yoramato, which technically he's a rookie, but he's not really a rookie because he's played in Japan. Yeah. But a rookie that I like is Jackson Morel. He's a center fielder for San Diego Padres. He made the team, wasn't expected to, but he's a center fielder. Like I said, Jackson Merrill, he's a really good player. I see a lot of good things from him.
Is he filling of any kind of void because of Soto being gone?
Yeah, so in the Soto trade, they traded Soto, and they also traded Trent Grisham. So there was 2 outfielding spots opened in San Diego, and he took center field, Jackson Merrill. Really good player, young player, hits the ball well. I think he's going to have a really good year. So those are 2 left field rookie of the year guys. Not left field, but out of left field, and they all both play the outfield. Managers of the year, they're my 2 sleepers. AJ Hinch with the Tigers. I mean, a couple years ago, he was with the Astros. You know, he had won a World Series with them. He had that scandal with the sign stealing. So he's still a really good coach. And like I said, as my pick, as a young team, I think that he's going to be really good. And my huge underdog, the Colorado Rockies, Bud Black, NL Manager of the Year.
Okay.
Like I said, I squeaked them in as a 3rd wild card. I really like them. I have a little bit of bias, as I said, when we had Chris Dolan on the team, like one of my favorite stadiums of all time, Coors Field. Love Coors Field, so I got bias there. But Bud Black, Colorado Rockies, watch them.
I like it. I like it. You're staying true to your picks. That I could see the connecting of the dots there. It makes sense. So
yes, sir.
I like it.
Yes, sir.
Couple reaches, couple dark horses, but it makes sense. So it's gonna be a good season. Like I said, I wish my Mets there was a bit more to be excited about, but I'll be watching the Rays. I'll be watching you guys because to me the Soto thing is interesting to see. This is a make or break potentially new contract year for him. If he doesn't live up to it, I think he's going to have a hard time commanding what he wants next year. But I think you and I've talked. He probably will get some suitors next year anyway.
Oh yeah,
but he could really get a bag, so to speak, if he
he's
does.
young. He's like 25 years old. He'll be 26 this year. So that's
They'll
why
be
I think the Yankees are going to drop the bank on him. I mean, we can't let that kind of talent leave us. That's my 2 cents.
Yep. Good stuff.
Yeah. So that was a pretty solid show. We had some really good things. I think going forward, we mentioned I think we should each show on like a Tuesday pick out a series, and then we could pick who we think is going to win a series in a baseball. Do something fun like that. Get baseball interactive.
I like it a lot. Yeah, it's a long season. We'll find some ways to be creative and make it entertaining. I like the idea a lot. It's it should be a good weekend ahead. Golf tapers off a little bit. We got a couple weeks for the Masters. There's a couple events still going on. They're just not as prominent. But you still got March Madness taking place later this week and the weekend. It'll get us down to I think the Final Four because we'll have the Sweet
16 and Elite 8. Yep,
and the 8, and then by the time we do our next show, I think we'll know the Final Four. So plenty of great action going on this week. So make sure you tune into us next week. We'll have a ton more to get to and probably just a little bit of a recap of how the opening weekend of MLB went. So
yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I got, my man. You got any closing arguments or closing statements?
That's all I got as well. We appreciate everybody listening to us. Great show. Hopefully everybody enjoyed all the content we brought today, and you better believe we'll be bringing it again next week. So
better believe it.
Peace out.
We'll catch you on the other side.
Yep.